Hello and happy equinox. It is spring equinox in the northern hemisphere where I am, and I'm so excited to be here with you today for our live stream. I'm going to take a peek down and make sure everything is running okay, and then we have so much to dive into today. I just want to say that I haven't been here. I was off for a week letting all the past videos that we've done kind of cycle through, and in that week there's so much happening right now. So we'll talk about the meaning of equinox, and we will also look at the divine feminine astrology, and we also have the Aries new moon tomorrow, and so it's a really potent time. And then we have Pluto moving into Aquarius and squaring the nodes of the dragon's head and tail. And so we have a lot ahead. I want to say this now to make sure that I do not forget that we are going to do the light body Stargate today. It's been a while since we went into the Stargate. And so I have a lot of information, and I have a goddess report that I wrote last week that just came in. I have not looked at it since. And so I'm going to check it out and make sure it feels like it was meant for today. So we'll look at the goddess report, the channeled part, and then we'll look at the planets, talk a little bit about Aries, because this is really big Aries energy. It's Aries. This is the Aries equinox, and we have the Aries new moon, and we have the North Node moving into Aries. And so we're going to talk about the alpha feminine heart, the sovereign heart womb that we work with in light body yoga, and it's really powerful. And the activation will be centered on, let's see, I wrote heart womb activation, light body Stargate. We're going to activate the triple soul prism and just bring in a lot of really powerful energy. It's the energy of fertility. It's spring where I am. We look at in the path of initiation following the sun, we look to the north to see what the sun is doing, even though an equinox is such a powerful representation of this. We are always balancing the north and the south. We're always balancing the above and the below. We're always balancing our shadow body with our body of light. And that is what the equinox is about. It's really about the scales and all the alchemy that goes with that. It's a really divine feminine alchemy. And so I'm going to take a peek and say hi and just kind of catch my breath, and then we'll dive in. I have a lot, so I'll probably be on for a while. So it's really good to see you. It's so good to see the hearts. And okay, let me just take a moment. Azure. Oh, I love that. Trish, so nice to see you. Susan. Oh, I haven't seen you in ages. Asra, happy equinox. Azure, Cecilia, let me know where you're from. Oh, Uruguay, South America. I haven't seen you before. That's amazing. So you are having fall equinox, and we'll talk about that. Hello, Jen. Hello, Trisha. Oh, so good to see you, Cecilia, Patricia from Scotland. I'm getting to know so many of you now. Ari, Kendall, Bartholomew, Livity Rising, Bartholomew. Okay. Sophia, nice. And Celia, Sonia, thank you. And lovely to have you. Oh my gosh, I was going to look up your name for pronunciation. It's so beautiful. Okay. All right. So let's start. So this is what I want to say. I'm going to have one sip here. Okay. First, let's talk about the power of the solstices and the equinoxes. So these are 4 holy days in the year on the calendar, on the astrological calendar, because we work with the power of the sun, the moon, and the earth. We work with the power of the masculine and feminine and matter. We work with the power of what we give birth to by working with that alchemy. And so we're looking at how the rays of the sun are affecting the earth. We can think of the earth as the underworld, the world of matter, the cauldron, the soil, that the seeds are planted into to give birth to life. Okay, I'm just going to see. I know there's something I was going to say around this. Just one moment. Life is fire. And the reason it's fire is because fire, like the spermatoza, it fertilizes the womb. And that's why we're talking about the heart womb today. And it gives us life. Without it's the fire that activates matter. And so that's why we talk when we speak of the light here, we're talking about the light of spirit, consciousness, and life. We are human beings, light body human beings, because we have consciousness. We're working on cultivating our super consciousness, which is more and more downloads of light and cosmic spirit. And so that is what these days are about. When we work with the archetypal wisdom, and this is really powerful. So the reason we work with this wisdom in the divine feminine is because it opens our mind to the true knowledge of what we are, of the music of how we interact with each other, how we speak, how we can be dignified, how we can be dignified beings that walk through all circumstances in light. And by dignified, and that doesn't mean that sometimes we're not going to fall flat on our face and fall all over the place and fall apart. I'm going to be really clear about that because we have to do that. We actually That's what gives us our dignity. We fall down, we fail miserably, we hurt ourselves, we hurt each other, and then we get back up and we think it through. We process it. That's what these high holy days are about, processing. Right now we're processing our shadow with our light and saying, okay, what do we need right now to recalibrate and to gain access to that portal that opens, that gives us power. And that's what we'll do in the light body Stargate today. So I'm just going to have you take a moment and just digest that to be beautifully human. And it's so important right now. The reason we're cultivating the alpha feminine heart is because alpha, we refer to the masculine, that alpha power, and the feminine power as the receptive power. Alpha feminine heart is the heart that is in sacred union. And it gives us our sovereignty. It gives us our sovereignty. When I teach, I started teaching a body of teachings in 2013 in Light Body Woman that I call the Alpha Teachings. And the Alpha and they turned out to be some of the most popular in the mentorship I do, because a lot of us that are really empathic and that we have access to all this wisdom, but we find ourselves feeling victim more often than empowered, because we're integrating that ability to take all that deep, deep spiritual energy we have and articulate it and project it and use it for boundaries, so that our auric field is not captured by the outer narratives, but that it's completely aligned with spirit. Our inner teacher is our spirit. It's our I am. So it's the perfect place to do I am. And then we'll look at with a little bit more about the equinox. So let's do I am and activate our auric field. That's what I am is about. I am is the spirit. It's the Sophia Logos power. And her point of perfect power is in our heart. She's all through our body. She's actually, that perfect point exists in every cell, in every atom, in every molecule within us, is a sun, is a nucleus of the whole center. So every single thing is built on the model of a solar system. And so I am is the power to harmonize the frequencies that circle, to bring them into the perfect pattern around us, so that our power, like an artist is directing, almost like even a conductor directing a symphony, and we're creating great works of art in our life. We're creating beautiful relationships in our life, friendships, love relationships, parental relationships, relationship with Gaia, and there's a lot in here about Gaia today, because Gaia's womb, and then we're going to activate Gaia's womb, our heart womb, and the cosmic womb. Gaia's womb holds all of that potency as the womb in our heart. And I often say this, I've been saying this in the on many of these videos over the years. I'm not sure if I've said it recently, but heart and earth are an anagram for each other. So our heart is really the earth. And when we come into coherence with our heart, with the earth, our super consciousness opens and we can speak with Gaia and for Gaia, and we can receive from the higher Gaia what is truth. And the truth will be different for every person. We all have our own truth frequency, but when we can't be programmed when we have that, and that's why we become alpha feminine. We become sovereign heart wombs, and we begin to dance with each other and attract each other and attract those people we're meant to work with. We can feel when people's music is harmonious with our music, and we're meant to have relationships with those people. We can't, everybody's making a different sound, and we can't harmonize with everyone. We're not meant to. And so, okay, let's do I am, and then we'll go into this. All right. And so just making the diamond mudra in front of your heart and imagining the point of light in the core of your heart, the core of your heart womb, your divine feminine nucleus of primordial feminine mother energy. And now, as we say I am in the 7 directions, as the mother, we use this a lot in our light body priestess ritual, you are giving birth to your son, your Christos, as the Virgin Mary giving birth to the Christ. Your auric field is that body of wisdom. And so as we emanate this point of the Sophia Logos power into our field, we activate that body of consciousness that harmonizes heaven and earth, that activates the Venusian, and that brings us to the power of divine love. The truth of being human is to find this holy grail. And so you'll see the sun emanating into your field in the 7 directions. And so repeating after me. I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me. I am below me. I am unto me. And please take a deep breath in, breathe in all the way. And then at the top of your inhale, suspend your breath and just take a moment and see the highest vision. Today is a day of birthing, something that you really want to bring in. This is the fertilization of the sun. So just see yourself as your embodied higher self. And we've been working with the tantric mission that you have on this planet. Let's activate that tantric mission, and exhaling all your breath out. We activate the threefold soul prism with I am, I know, I am. I am, I am, I know, I am. This is the truth about the self. I am the one. I am the light body sun. I am the one. I am the light body sun. That's something I can't remember if I've said it on the videos before. We use it a lot in both light body yoga and the mentorship I do. It's just affirming that you are lit, that you are lit with the power of fire at the very core of your being. You are the one. You are the light body sun, and your whole field is being commanded by that. But also, this light body sun is the intelligence of the high and the low. And so it's that power within us that balances us. So we're just looking at some of the light body alchemy and the esoteric wisdom, the metaphysical wisdom, more like it, the energetic goddess wisdom. So, all right. So the equinox is the instant that the midpoint of the sun crosses the Earth's equator, or the celestial equator. It happens twice a year in March and September. March is our vernal equinox, and that is when the northern hemisphere begins to tilt towards the sun, and it's the astrological new year. So today is actually the astrological new year. So happy new year. And it's really the birth of it's the fertilization of matter. So, and it happens in the sign Aries. And we've been talking a lot about Aries. Aries is the sun of the mind. It's our ability to have vision and see with truth. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about that when the light goes on, we can see, even in the dark. Um, all right. So, and we follow the path of the sun. At the north represents our global alchemy. So even though we're always balancing each other, the northern hemisphere and the southern, we represent on the axis of the tree of life that the north is the path of ascension, and we are currently, humanity is on a path of ascension. So we look to the north to activate that kundalini power within us and to awaken it and vibrate it. And one of the most beautiful things about spring equinox in the north is that the sun begins to vibrate. Those rays coming in, it's like the pulsation and the activation of the deep, deep seeds that are in the soil. And so what happens is, if you think of a sun that has that deep nucleus, but it hasn't quite, there's always a subtle fire. There's a subtle energy and a subtle fire that's in every seed. Any seed you see deep down has the goddess power in it. But when the sun comes and activates the earth, they both begin to rumble. So the sun is saying hello. It's fertilization, and it's touching the seeds, and the seeds are all like, it's like the eggs that are rumbling and getting ready to receive that, so they can begin to crack open and become the gestation, and become the root pushing up, and become the plant, and become the flower, and become the fruit. And so all of that starts with, first is the act of planting, but then comes the sun. We've talked about this before, but this is something really powerful. When we put a seed in the ground, instantly, once we bury something, the higher intelligence knows it's there and starts to speak to it and come into communication. So, and then we'll do that in the light body Stargate activation. The second we plant a seed, we make it available to come to fruition. And so that's why right now, knowing the seeds that we plant, which seeds are inside us waiting to be activated, it's very big. And especially coming into the age of very serious AI and technology that kind of bypasses things, we need to understand which seeds we take in. And that, my fellow human beings, is why we talk about the alpha feminine heart and the sovereignty of the heart womb. Okay. All right. And I also wrote this because it's Gaia. This is Gaia's womb awakening. I wrote, the battle over Gaia and climate is about many things. And I say that with deep love and deep appreciation for where we're at right now, because we're in a pretty serious time in our cycle. Some are positive, some are ruled by greed and ignorance, But this is what she wrote to say today. The keepers of Gaia and her womb, her core, are the warriors and the warrioresses of light, this spiritual light that permeates everything. And it is those who understand her cycles, her archetypal wisdom, that are able to synchronize hearts and synchronize our heart. We talked about with her heart and earth through the breath, which is very close to the anagram when you put the B on it, which is a whole body of teachings around this. Those who understand her cycles, who synchronize their hearts with her, are the real teachers. We, by our consciousness, can change everything. So we have to not forget that wisdom, because in this age of the divine feminine, that's the real wisdom. I just wrote yesterday, I think that is the gold standard of wisdom for the age of Aquarius. This is all feminine activation. Gaia as a goddess, as a plant, is feminine. She's our mother. And the heart is the feminine within us. And when we're activating the alpha feminine heart, we're coming into that mind heart coherence that opens up a new logos, a new word, a new power, a new mind. And we begin to feel each other. And that is actually, how can we put this? That is the technology that overrides some of the other frequencies right now. That's it. And you have it. You already have it inside you. I think I wrote this, so I'll look at what's down here. Okay. Synchronize her heart with the earth and the stars. When we spend time in nature, we recalibrate. We cannot be fooled. We we activate, I don't know what this word is. Our heart codes, and we awaken. We project the heart codes and we awaken. Okay. All right. So the body of Gaia, our body, mind, and soul is a super computer with the highest divine feminine intelligence. Nice to see everyone. Oh, so nice to see you. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I see some new faces. So happy. Okay. We call her goddess intelligence. So let's say that again. The body of Gaia is the music of the goddess. Look at what happens when you see the sun. Right now we have a really beautiful sunny day here. When you look outside, if you watch, I walk every day outside, so I watch the change day to day. You will see music, because sound, we can actually, this is why I talk so much about vision. We can see sound. Sound has geometry. And when we can see what happens with the sun fertilizing Gaia, we almost want to kneel down and pray, because it's so sacred. This is the true communication of the different realms of the divine with each other. And so you can feel the music, because what is the music? It's the crackling of the ground. The ground starts to thaw and the seeds start to communicate with each other, and the elemental streams. All of this has to do with the elements moving through the earth. And when you look outside, you see the music of the animals, and the music of the trees that were carrying all that life force in their roots. During the winter, it starts to pulse. And even before it happens, I know this because I'm a very serious tree watcher outside the window in my office. You can see the change, even when the trees are still brown and everything still looks dead. You can hear it. It's a field of music. And it's so funny, when my son's been coming over a lot recently, and he keeps saying, let's go outside. Like, it's so funny. We take walks now and then, because he's back and forth between my house and his father's. He's been wanting to go outside a lot. And I'm like, it's spring fever. It really is. It starts to move us, and we're called to it. And that's why, like, I used to work in the bars in New York City and the nightclubs, and the second spring comes, people are out. You get that feeling, like people start wearing less clothing, people start showing more body. A lot of women start showing, and you can feel the heightened sexual energy, because it's spring, it's mating season, and it comes because of the light. It makes everything that pulse within us, the kundalini within the earth, within our own body and aura, and within our mind. We also have a kundalini force, the serpent power in the mind. Okay, I could just get lost and talk about this all day, but I want to move to the goddess report. So, okay, we are a supercomputer with the highest divine feminine goddess intelligence, the technology of the goddess that we all have. The body holds portals to the forces of nature, connected to our chemistry, our hormones, our hormonal cycles, um, etc., that they transmit and they activate. This is huge. I literally wrote that. When we alter something, so this has a lot to do with understanding the technology of our bodies at this time, and we're going to be activating that in a much higher way. That's part of the awakening human being. When we alter anything inside us, if we add alcohol, if we add any kinds of drugs or anything, it affects our endocrine system, our pineal gland, our pituitary gland, and it changes our relationship with the cosmos and with Gaia. And I said there's a huge portion of the work on this platform about this because it's really important to understand. There's a time for all of that, but we want to understand what we have and what we are that is sacred. And there's a place and a time for altering things, but it's really important to know that this cosmic intelligence in our body is um, is priceless, and we don't want to damage it or destroy it without fully understanding it. There's something that's been coming in a lot in some of the work I'm doing, and that is that if we choose to re-engineer or reverse engineer something that we don't understand, we may lose that gift. And that's what the fall is. It's when we fall into the underworld and we forego our true spiritual power, and we get to learn lots of beautiful things. And there's a lot of beauty in being here as well. It's really, really powerful. But we also have to make sure that patriarchy doesn't hijack this narrative and this deep wisdom and understanding. And trust me, as someone who's been working with this work and on this platform for a very long time, I've seen things that are mind blowing, that reveal. We talk about the spiritual, the energetic war. I want to say what that is. There's a natural component to the energetic battle, the spiritual battle between the light and the dark. It's part of our alchemy. And it's part of it's natural because we live in the world of forces, and there's a magnetic pulling us down, and there's a magnet pulling us up. And the soul is caught between this. When we come in, we're caught between this tug of war. The dark saying, no, come down. Let's play in the hell realms. Let's go all out and experience that kind of power. There's different regions and different layers. And the light is calling us sometimes through the cosmos. We see it and we're like, oh, I think I belong there. What am I in our heart? We have soul longing. We long for that return, but it's here that we make sense of it. And the forces on many levels work, and some of them have the right to be here, are working to prevent that from happening. So, but we can't, like a day like today, the spring equinox is about that happening. It can't be stopped. Those forces, those cosmic forces, can't be stopped unless we get to the point where we do crazy things to stop them. And so today's the day we reclaim them and we own them. All right. So sometimes we have to be alpha. In relationships, sometimes it's our turn to be strong. Those who can access their own alpha are less likely to blame, less likely to fall prey to conspiracy, more likely to contribute through their passion and their divine image to society and for the greater good, more likely to protect the vulnerable and the innocent. because when we have that power, we can see clearly. When you think about, the mother, in nature, the lioness or the bear, the mother bear, the mother lion, that instinctual power to protect is already plugged in. That animal, because animals are in Gaia's matrix, and they're already on their instinctual wisdom. They don't have to think about it. It's animalistic. And they can teach us what that means. But it's so that alpha nature is so ingrained to fight and protect. And it's every animal is based on the code of that animal's archetype and trajectory. And so it doesn't mean that every animal is perfect, but they have the perfect pattern for that archetype. This is something, this is going off, but I need to say this right now. Animals represent the powers of nature that live within our own being and our own aura. When you see an animal in nature, that very power exists within your body as an elemental force, as a feeling. And so sometimes when we indulge the animal nature a lot more than we indulge our higher nature, meaning we don't have a spiritual practice or we don't practice love or discipline, our animal nature takes all the powers of the animal kingdom until they fight each other in a battle within us, and they end up devouring our own field. And there's a time, and it's bloodlust. It becomes like the hunter and the hunted. We have to, so many different archetypes are coming in right now, but we have to experience that to realize that's not the power of the animals. That, and a lot of different like shamanic traditions work with this. Understanding the true power of the animal is the spiritual side of the animal that can also walk with the deep, deep earthly power of that animal as well. Okay. We're supposed to say that. So Aries are the warriors of vision, to see the truth, to speak the truth, and to use your powers to serve your heart and to serve others. So I talked about being dignified, and dignified also means, it doesn't mean we have to go to war every time we see something. We're better to listen and be in the union of that heart, that threefold soul prism we talked about, and then speak. Unless it's a moment of that animal instinct where we know and we have to say it, that's different. But that will feel clean. It will feel good. It will feel like a good war, because nature will support us when we do that. Sometimes it's just that animal instinct to say no, or to speak, or to have a boundary, and that it feels aligned. And we're like, oh wow, where did that come from? It feels right. It feels good. Okay. All right. Things are speeding up right now. And I have to tell you, we're going to look at some of the Pluto squaring the nodes is really big. Pluto is going to square the north and south node. The North and South node are in Taurus and Scorpio right now, and we did 2 videos dedicated to Taurus and Scorpio, North Node and South Node on this channel, and they're really powerful. They just tell you the archetypal wisdom. Scorpio, the South Node in Scorpio is about sex. It's Pluto themes. Well, first of all, Pluto squaring the nodes, it's squaring its own sign. Scorpio, it's death and rebirth, it's power struggles, it's the misuse of sexuality in the underworld, but it's also deep sexual union and understanding sexuality and the true sexual fire codes, because the divine mother reclaims her seeds and activates them, and that's a powerful part of alchemy. So as Pluto squares the nodes, and Pluto is also in the sign of Aquarius for the first time in hundreds of years, it's a really big activation. I'm going to take a moment with this because it's the biggest thing happening in the world right now. Meaning the collective psyche is under a tremendous force of nature that all we can do is surrender to it and use the higher octave of Pluto rather than the lower octave. So Pluto is also going to fire up and accelerate what's happening on the planet, because it will be squaring the North Node in Taurus. And Venus is there right now. Venus has entered her sign on the 16th. She's going to be there for this month. And she's the matriarch of Taurus. She's the ruler. She's doing tremendous alchemy. The recent video we did, the Venus codes, talks all about it. Some real keys to what's happening right now. But this square of Pluto is a reckoning. Part of it could be like vengeance, part of it could be deep deception, and part of it is the death and rebirth. of what's taking place in Taurus right now. Taurus is the earth and the goddess and our own physical body. So our own physical body will be receiving this, as Taurus represents also our earth, our physical vehicle. And with with Pluto giving this hit to the dragon's head in Taurus, it's a real activation and initiation and transmission, all the words. So, let's just ask right now, what is the main thing to be aware of right now? Pluto in Aquarius is connected to technology, and the reverse of this, the engineering of the archontic force, would be to use the technology of Aquarius in a sinister way, with that first hit to the node, to perhaps bypass consciousness and conscious awareness and go right into the realms of our own underworld. So we need to resurrect our own power and be aware of that and what that means. And so I'm just asking, what does that mean? Our inner goddess technology, our okay, our heart, because Taurus is the heart through the Empress as well. Taurus really is the heart. Taurus, earth, heart. Same archetype, same vibration, same codes. So, and I'm just going to do this for a moment. What are we meant to, what is the thing that we can all do? And we'll do this later in the Light Buddy Stargate. We can become aware of Gaia, of her womb. Connect our own womb, which we'll do in the Stargate activation, with the womb of the goddess, the core of Gaia, Sophia, the planet, and to harmonize from her, activate spirit, and do not make, okay, we don't want to make people our enemies, because everyone's under these different influences right now. And whatever you tune into, you can tell, like, this this platform is doing this platform is doing this. The polarity has never been greater. Just one thing to mention, Equinox is polarity integration. That is the work of the heart on the astral level. We integrate masculine and feminine and light and dark, and it's our alchemy. So this is coming in so fast, I can hardly keep it all. So know your heart, love nature, love your earth, and love your body. Understand the currency, because it's affecting money as well. No fear or panic. Oh, and look at what we've seen with the banks happening in the United States, which is kind of just the beginning. So understand, this is where your money is. This right here in your heart womb, that's where your currency is. Your feelings, your emotional body, your spiritual power. When we connect with I am in the threefold soul prism, we can't be, even if it looks like things are bad, we are on our path. We are the warriors and warrioresses of the divine light, that fire flame within us. This is Aries. This is the North Node moving into Aries, is going to activate war very powerfully. And that's a real situation. And Pluto squaring the nodes as well is going to, because Pluto's going to be squaring the nodes, I think, up until November. That's going to really, and be like bringing on the war vibration if it's not used properly. So we want to activate now the sovereign feminine heart. Do it now, so that you can really walk with your light through. We can walk through these times together, and we synchronize with each other. We have this matrix. I call it the goddess matrix, is the matrix that's being birthed. We feel the points of life around the globe, and there's the warrior. We are warriors of the spirit and the forces of nature. Sometimes people have to be warriors in real battle on 3D earth, but when we activate that, we don't have to, like, because right now even there's so many different ideologies and beliefs about what's happening, but when you're here, love rules. And so you'll know how to be dignified and how to have grace and walk through these times. All right, let me see if there's anything else to say before I read the goddess report. And that I put leaving the matrix, alpha feminine heart codes, warriors and warrioresses of light, spiritual light. That's different than the light dark polarity. The spiritual light is the third principle of birth. The spiritual light is the logos, Sophia logos power that we put. It's our higher intelligence, and it's marrying the higher intelligence to the core of our planet and our own being. So it's not, this isn't about the polarity of light and dark. It's about what that balancing gives birth to. Respect yourself. Okay. Yeah. Work towards your goals. Have a vision. You want to plant a vision because Aries is vision. When you know your vision, write it out. Make a vision board. How do you sit when we've been working with the Tantric mission and having know your Tantra, what we do, light body Tantra. What is your Tantric mission? Because that's connected to you. We call it Goddess Core Code. That's who you are. You cannot align with that and not be fed by the highest wisdom. And so this is Aries is I am, again, profound. Aries is I am. Its opposite is Libra. We are, but we're activating Aries right now. I am. I am. I am the one. I am the light body sun. I am the axis of my own auric field, from the pineal gland all the way down to my tailbone, to my sacral, to my solar plexus, to my heart, and there's a deep bridge between solar plexus and heart, to my throat chakra, to my pineal gland, from my pituitary gland, to my pineal gland, to my crown. I am the one. I am the wand. I am the magician. And that really activates the wand of the magician when all of those are lit with the flame of the goddess. Okay. All right. Let's look at the prophecy. Yeah, I wrote the prophecy. There is a prophecy. Be careful. There's a lot of things you could look at right now, a lot of books. I won't say the names right now, but classics that talk about these times. Be careful that we're not being sold a life that usurps all of our freedom. This is big because as a sovereign feminine Aries warrior and warrioress of the light, we cannot be sold a life that usurps our individual freedom. We cannot sell our soul. We have to consult within first. That's also Pluto and Aquarius. Okay. We have to be careful of fake virtue, fake moral high ground, and we have to be just energetically aware of some of the attacks. Humanity has never been under more shadow influence, and yet the light has never been greater. The shadow energies are just swarming, looking for a vessel. So we've talked about this before, but the entities, the psychic entities that are in the field, remember, we see 10% or less of what exists. Our eyes, when we talk about Aries vision, we're talking about seeing the whole spectrum. We see 10% of what's happening in the invisible realms. Around us, there are all kinds of entities, beings, energies, thought forms, emotional entities. They are looking for a vessel because certain energies have to have a human. They can't really do what they're here to do unless they have a human. And so when we break down and this is all for the Aries New Moon tomorrow, when we're not aware of our own technology, we are missing a huge opportunity to be emissive with the God force. And there's a saying, you want to be receptive to the higher light and emissive in the world of matter, because the world of matter is sending so many signals toward you. When your auric field is amplified, like we do at the beginning with I am, you're emitting. There's a famous quote by, I'm trying to think the woman who wrote, when you're emitting your own frequency, I'll think of her. She wrote 4 metaphysical books. They're up there somewhere in the early 90s. But she wrote about being emissive in the field. That's exactly it. When we absorb too much earth matter and psychic energy of other people, we collapse our field. And what has technology done? Absorb, 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 absorb. We're running goddess energy and creating the matrix by not knowing what we're thinking at all times. So there's a lot going on right now. But when we are active in that Christos, that Christ Sophia energy, we become emissive and we become receptive to those things that are a harmonic match to us. And so we don't have to accept everything. In every crowd, there's going to be threats. Genuinely, when we walk as masters, we allow them to be, but we find our people. We find our points. never to create any energy that's going to attack anything else, but only to uplift the truth of who we are, our own truth frequency. Okay, those forces are seeking, the shadow forces are seeking to derail the heart vision at this time. The forces are seeking to derail, like when I've talked about, recently I've talked about conspiracies and how I had to really take a year off to make sure, because I've carried this for so long, and those wobbles, because the magnetics of a lot of things out there are gaining in power. What I needed for my own work to make sure I'm carrying it with dignity and not succumbing to a false light imposter narrative. And so um that is how the vision of truth is derailed. So you might take something that's true and mix partial truth with a whole other thing that's going to bring in the shadow energy of Pisces that we talked about, the underworld. It will capture your power instead of letting you have to check in. Is my power captured, or am I creating the way I'm born to in this realm, in this time? Yeah, when that happens, it's radicalization when we get taken in by something that is a mix. It's a mixed bag. It's not the truth. It's not pure. And of course, we're going to have to go through different things. And that's why, for myself, I took some time back so I could go through it, and then recalibrate and keep growing this flower, keep growing it to where it's like the goddess. Um, okay. The soul who is not connected to their inner divine will and their own heart is more susceptible to radicalization by outer forces. Connection to nature, to love, to family, and the goddess creates the inner foundation. We talked a lot about this in the past videos about Pisces being the mother deep. That foundation that supports her creation. When that is psychologically intact, we're supported. And we can see through the realms, because there's the murky realms. They're meant to be there. They're part of the power. But we have the crystal vision of what truth is. The alpha feminine heart gives us our true inner foundation of divinity. I am my divine self. I am divinity embodied. That's an old light body yoga mantra, our first one. I am my divine self. I am divinity embodied. Not up here, but in my full goddess technology, that Taurus energy, I am embodied. Okay. Okay. All right. I don't know if I'm going to have time to read this, but I'm going to scan it and see what it is before we go in the Stargate. So you cannot rise into true union with the Christ Sophia force without coming into your personal power. So this is what initiation is about. Imagine you're training with a top martial artist, like watch the Karate Kid or something like that. And imagine you have a master that knows the art of kung fu or karate or jujitsu or aikido. I trained in aikido for a while, and all of my actor training at university was done through the art of aikido and martial arts. We train so that we can extend ki. We trained as actors so that we would have that force to be able to project to the back row with our consciousness while we were acting Shakespeare. So, but it's the same thing. We come into our personal power so that we can extend spirit. This is our spiritual sovereignty. This work requires the surrender of the ego into the divine will. Pisces, not Pisces, Aries, that divine I am, of holy desire of her. This is the work of alchemy, and it requires you to fully understand and take responsibility for your own vehicle. Of course, there's times when we're breaking down, we need help. Children, a baby requires the help of its mother or father. But when we start to get that feel of what it means to kind of command our own, it's like, oh yeah, it feels good. And our words begin to match that. So life brings you all of the meetings and interactions that will activate you and initiate you into your divine feminine sovereignty. In light body yoga, we call her the alpha feminine heart. So remember, alpha feminine is the male female principle in balance. Clear power, true sovereignty requires crystal clear vision. So that's why Aries, which is a very masculine principle of the head, when Aries activates clear vision, the heart responds with her full power. It's the heart, the mind heart resonance. And Aries, the mind can fertilize the heart and activate those seeds. The same way the sun on spring equinox in the north is fertilizing Gaia. Okay. This is the gift of the divine vision is the gift of the warrior and the warrioress of light, spiritual light. You must align your perception with your truth, the divine will of the Holy Mother Spirit, the goddess, in the hour of her power has arrived. So when you think of the I have some images I've shared on Art of the Feminine on Facebook. You see the knight bowing to the goddess, and the goddess has the sword, and she's christening him, she's blessing him, she's initiating him. The knights, you think of the Christos Templars, the Essenes, those the esoteric lineages that existed both on earth and in the higher realms that hold that understanding that the knights, the masculine principle, bows to the feminine. And one of my favorite images, I don't know the artist, is the knight with all this hard armor on, and he's bowing, and there's a beautiful woman who's just holds this goddess archetype energy, and she has the sword, and she is initiating him because he's bowing not to an earthly woman, there is beauty in understanding how to honor the mother, honor the feminine in female embodiments, but he's bowing to the goddess. He's bowing to the divine feminine within and saying, I humble myself before you, mother. The mother has returned, and she's the power of love. This planet, we were cut off, we were strangled and siphoned and blocked from that power. Even the alpha male, and so obviously I'm using an archetype of an alpha male bowing to that power is profound, because those are actually the true alpha males on the planet anyway. They are the army of the goddess, not the army of the fallen ones. Okay. So to turn our vision away from inner divine love creates a dystopian land of the fallen desires that are blind. No true warrior or warrioress power, only a fake power that kills and destroys the goddess. So when we say that, the goddess can't be destroyed, obviously, but we have this field of our subtle energy that's very important. And I have a lot of work coming out with this in the future with some really deep codes around this, but we cannot destroy that or we lose everything. And that is why this time is so powerful. The goddess report was received to transmit a divine feminine energy into humanity. This divine feminine transmission is to penetrate and activate the hearts of holy humanity and to initiate the human race into vision, that vision we just talked about, and the sovereign power of love, divine love. Divine love is the love that's linked to the will. The will is the spirit. When we surrender to the divine spirit and we activate our imagination through that vessel, that's when we become avatars and avataresses of matter. And there's a lot more we can say about that. We'll save it for a time coming soon. Her initiations are in love, the great Venusian initiation into sacred union with our will, with a capital W. But first, we must die to the fallen perceptions that see from the veiled, blind mechanism of the animal nature, the one that's more controlled. And the fear, when we get that fear hormone that gets triggered by a lot of things, when we go into fear, there's a good aspect to fear. We need a little fear because it lights the fire inside us. So it's like, oh boy, I better do that. Oh my God, this is happening. I better get on the ball and get things going. That fear is good fear. Or oh, danger's coming. I need to. That's not good. And we all a little bit of fear ignites us with our power. It's the fire of. It's actually the same energy as the sexual energy. It ignites that arousal of our spiritual energy. Um, and it's from that dimension. We only use each other for pleasure, and we use each other, and we steal from each other, and we demean each other, and we see each other as just empty shells rather than seeing the soul, the Christ within all beings. That's even talked about in Christianity. Just I am, the saying, whatsoever you do to the least of my brother, what is it? Whatsoever you do to the least of my brother and sister, that you do unto me. This is I believe, a Jesus saying. It's just coming to me right now. Whatsoever you do to the least, the very least of my brother and sister, that you do unto me. And what that means is that we talked about this in the last video. We talked about the true self and the subconscious mind knows, this is just coming back in, that whatever we do, whatever we say to another, we're really doing to ourself, and ourself is the Christ force and the Christ Sophia, the different aspects. That means when you say whatever you do to another, you're really doing to your own inner power. And the physical 3D is the same. Meaning, if I hurt another, I'm in the karmic realm. If I hurt, deceive, steal from, even energetic from another, it just boomerangs and comes right back. Do unto others the golden rule as you want them to do to you. Okay, there's many more pages. I'm just going to scan really quick because I think we need to go into the Stargate. Yeah, we're getting close. Okay. Spiritual maturity. All right. Sometimes the importance. Okay. Spiritual maturity and ripeness before a new opportunity. Okay. We get the scent of the fruit. So, yeah. So we can, with every seed, I talk a lot about the seed and the fruit. You can smell the fruit. Is that one you're going to eat or not? We don't have to eat everything. And we can see, what seed am I going to plant? What fruit is in the seed? Do I want to plant this? Am I looking for oranges or apples? What is it I want today? Or do I want some greens? Or do I want flowers? Do I want a hibiscus plant? Or like, what do I want? Which is planet of Venus. Those beautiful flowers. Okay. The vision of the warrior and warrior is truly pristine. Okay. I think I'm going to stop here and we'll go in the Stargate. Okay. Okay. There is a part, I'm going to jump to the end, and I'm going to say something because I remember writing this now. I wrote a little bit about cultural capitalism. This is kind of a more of a mainstream topic, but I wrote about it because I was writing about how a lot of public figures and well-known people and celebrities and even public servants, and there is and this came in really strong, so I'm just going to jump to it and say it, why we need alpha feminine sovereignty and bravery. There's something called, we talked about this in my mentorship recently, and everyone's like, oh yeah, so cultural capitalism means that you have to say the right thing in order to be included. And so, there's certain groups, we can call the groups all different names, but even, I'm just being shown, even saying that one word puts the video in that category where it's going to be picked up on that, just using those words, because it's so big out in the field right now. It means that unless you hold a very particular narrative, you won't have any cultural status. And so what's happened is that there's a time that artists are meant to be able to see and to be able, that's what an artist is. I've spent my whole life with artists. Artists are usually they're usually highly creative. A real artist is very discerning about what they take in, especially when they're in creative mode, because they're working in the womb. They've got what they need. They don't need anything else. But in this world, artists are a bit captured. Meaning there's an accepted way to be, and So some of that real rebel energy or that real artistic download is being um, run through patriarchal narratives, and that's not good. And yet you still get, if you have enough status, you can still work the system. Like you can still be seen and create great art. I'm just thinking, we just had the Academy Awards. You can still make beautiful art, but certain things that need a little light are no. And so the reason we're going to look into this, and then we'll go in the Stargate. The reason it's important to cultivate true power right now, because we call her the light body artist or the divine feminine artist. This is the goddess. The goddess is not afraid of, and she carries the mother energy that has wisdom. She can see when something is being gaslit or when there's a nuance, the nuance to the conversation that's not allowed. So it's really important right now that we honor ourselves, that we build up this power, that we think before we speak, and that we begin to embody so much wisdom that just even a few words reseed and recalibrate the planet. It does not take a lot. I mean, in this live stream, I'm going on and on because I have these streams coming in from every which way that didn't even allow me to do what I'm supposed to say. That's how much is trying to break in right now. So when we have it in real life, I know in my own life, I'm very specific with words in certain situations because I know it only takes a few. Because if you have the loaded power of your own feminine force behind one word is enough to pierce the veil. And it's about wisdom. It's not about the war that the outer would have you believe it's this great war. And kind of it is when you step into that. And I check in on that war a lot. So I know it's very real. But the thing is that everyone's yearning for wisdom that will break that, because that's fun for a while. And you can get a high and take the edge off by just like, owning this or owning that. But eventually it destroys our vehicle. And the only true wisdom is the wisdom that's connected to the divine will. And there's always, the reason it's the divine feminine right now is because the mother energy is awakening on the planet, and she doesn't mess around. She knows the laws of nature. She understands that everything isn't always black and white. There is a little bit of ground where sometimes we have to be, but sometimes certain things need to be protected or honored or loved or put in the field of the mother's wisdom to receive spiritual nourishment and knowledge, gnosis, knowledge with a capital K. When a lot of things that are happening in the world right now, if you were just to take groups of people and allow them to be in the field of real wisdom, without anything much more than that, the heart would open and begin to take over. And that's our sovereignty. So, all right, we're going to walk in the light body Stargate, and I'm going to look down, and then we'll I think we're good on time. I knew this would be a longer one. I'm going to look at who's here. Then we're going to do our light body Stargate activation. We're going to do the heart womb activation, the sovereign feminine activation, and the alpha feminine activation, where we walk into the Stargate and we activate that energetic field. All right. Does anybody have anything to say? I like that word. Yeah, and again, this is not about the polarity of masculine and feminine. We're talking more about the polarity of the absolute and the physical in the created world, and the intelligence of the creative world rising into the mother energy, the true energy. I am an Aries and feel very powerful right now. Yeah, Saturn and Pisces. Yes, beware of illusions. Thank you for saying that. We've done several videos speaking that, but Saturn and Pisces is going to be, it's going to bring both the good side of illusions, and meaning where you can be creative, and it's going to bring the seduction of the deepest. And that corresponds also with, there's so much with the nodes, the dragon's head and tail right now. The south node in Scorpio, before it goes out, is going to go out with a bang when it gets squared by Pluto. That those south node karmas that we carry, the misuse of sexuality, the not having mature wisdom around what we do and how we use it, that's going to be really called to be accountability. And so things, okay, I'm just going to say this, things are going to get wild. That's the whole point. I didn't want to start out with fear, but we're entering a period where it's never, we have never experienced time on the planet like we're coming into right now. It's already starting, and it's going, and we'll be talking about it. It's There's never been a more important time for us to connect like this and share. And so that's why I was bringing back on the goddess report that we'll be checking in regularly, and sometimes shorter things to digest, but you can always go back and just watch a little bit because every few sentences has its own coding. So, okay, everybody prepare for the Lake Buddy Stargate activation. I'm going to have you, okay, I'm going to have you imagine there's this platform, a circular platform like the platforms in Star Trek. If you can remember back to the days of, I think it was in Star Trek. I grew up in that era of Star Trek, like watching it after school. And Star Trek has these platforms that are just big enough that one individual can step up on upon it. That is our platform. There's a huge circle around that's like a giant auric field, and it delineates the dimension, the divine feminine dimension that we're walking into. All of us gathered here now in this present moment, as well as into the past and into the future, have our own platform along the circle. So we're all gathered in this big circle. All of us are outside of the line of the circle and the boundary of the circle, and we're each going to step onto our own. Just imagine, you have to use your creative imagination, stepping on it, and just feel now. I use my root chakra because I'm seated. We're not really, unless you can do this at home, you're standing. I let my root drop in, and the root connects to our feet, to feel your feet on that platform. This platform is a magic platform, meaning it holds the dimensions and it holds the intelligence of the goddess. This mini platform that you're on, it's like it's connected to all the cosmos as well as the earth. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few breaths, and the light body breath, we breathe in. The breathing, first of all, breathing balances the pillars on the tree of life. Breathing opens the light body stargate, and breathing accesses prana, so that the light of the sun that's coming in today at equinox, we're going to breathe that light in. We're going to breathe those codes in, and we're going to let it go right into our lungs and fill our heart with that power of Aleph and the power of the divine feminine heart. And on the third exhale, you're going to let your physical body, the platform you're on, the little light body stargate will open, and your physical sheath will drop through. And then all together, we're going to step inside this vortex, this stargate of power, and we're going to activate the divine feminine kingdom. We're going to speak to the realms, and we're going to have the elemental codes come in and do this activation of the cosmic. We often do this, the heart and the core of Gaia. And so just taking a moment, you need to let's do create a little heat and prana between your hands, and just feel it. There's a mudra called Tree of Life mudra, where we take your hands and put them right here to bring in the pillars of the Tree of Life with the heart right in the center. So you just it's like you're calling in the light, and then you're putting it right here. And so just come into that space of your own heart as a real vortex. It's etheric, but it's also encompasses your whole body and your whole auric field. Your auric field really is your heart extended outward. It's the womb. And so now, we're going to do 3 breaths in and exhale. And on the third one, you're going to imagine that third exhale, you're going to let your body, the platform will open, your sheath will drop through, but you'll be in more of your astral body or your spiritual body to walk into this vortex. And so taking a deep breath in and exhale. A deep breath in, breathing in the prana and the sunlight fluid, breathing in. And exhale. Last time, breathing in. As you breathe in, you're breathing in the transmission of this spring and fall equinox, breathing all the way in, receiving the light of the sun of our solar system, as well as the cosmic central sun, and exhaling. As you're exhaling, you're letting the sheath drop through that portal that you're standing on. And just take a moment with that. If you need one more breath to do it, feel free to take that. But you're going to be standing here, and then just adjust your consciousness. We're still affecting the physical body. We're not denying the physical, but this is a physical that's not captured or not caught or bound. It's our physical body where we can feel that there's this technology within us, and it's responding. It responds to the sun, it responds to matter, and we respond to love with each other. It's highly responsive to love and to creativity, because that's what excites the neurons and the cells and the atoms of this body is love. The sun is love, by the way. And so now, just taking a moment, just kind of look around the circle and see all of us gathered here. There's all beings from all corners of the earth and all colors, all representations of gender, of race, of even socioeconomic, of nations, of tribes. There's also spiritual tribes and spiritual lineages here from afar, all kinds of starseed nations. And that's a word I rarely use, but it's true that there are those of us here holding ancient codes of our own lineage. And we all are gathering together to meet as that higher octave of who we really are, and to get down and hold council today in the Light Buddy Stargate. So we're going to take a deep breath in and exhale. And then the second time when we exhale, we're all going to step in with your right foot first. And then we're going to come into the Stargate. So taking one practice breath, deep breath in. And exhale. Just really feeling the body you're in right now. And now again, this time we will step in, breathe all the way in. Feeling the subtle energies really, really now communicating with you. And now as you exhale, you're going to just take your right foot and step inside of the circle, and we're all coming into it together. And then we're going to ask for the vision. This circle is also connected deeply to Gaia's womb. We're going to receive a deep transmission from the womb of Gaia. And so as you're in now, we'll set up the vision, but just kind of like, just feel your body and feel kind of, it's like when you go into outer space and you go beyond that layer of consciousness that traps human consciousness. All of a sudden there's less pulling you down, and you can feel layers of your own consciousness that you're like, oh my gosh. We realize by all the nature that we're surrounded by, and there's a lot of trees, and I see a lot of pine trees, which kind of reminds me of the West Coast where I grew up, but these majestic pine trees. And then there's other trees too from different regions, but there's all the elemental streams are represented: earth, water, air, fire, and cosmic ether, which is that cosmic feminine energy of the goddess that we're breathing in this dimension. We breathe cosmic ether. That is the prana that informs our intelligence, that nurtures and feeds our soul. It's pure gnosis and wisdom. And so this is what we're kind of deprived of when we're not in this energetic field. So just now, asking for each person should just ask for a message. I'm just shown to just now ask for, what is it the first thing that you receive for yourself? Just feeling like the bondage is off. What is the message that your own higher self is wanting to tell you right now? Something that maybe you couldn't quite see, you didn't have the vision. But now remember, vision is also seeing sound, geometry, and hearing the silent sound. So we'll just take a moment to hear, who are you? Who am I? What is your identity in this lifetime? What is your tantric mission? What have you come for in this lifetime? What have you come for? Perhaps you've come to do, perhaps you've come to receive, perhaps you've come to heal or build or retrieve, reclaim, establish. What is the message that has been scrambled for you that you're asking to receive a little more clarity around? Meaning you were allowing the outer world to give it to you, but you're like you appreciate the outer world for all its wisdom. There's plenty of hard-won temporal wisdom. We also have temporal insanity, so we have both. But what is the what has the matrix given you, and that you want to keep the good and just release what you don't need? So just take a moment for your personal, because we're at the equinox, and this is the balancing of the inner and the outer world. This is a time when that vortex opens and she gives it to you and says, this is you, this is your seed. You will plant this tree or this plant, and you will shine bright with this flower and bear this fruit. What is your seed? Your seed mission. I'm going to ask mine really quick and just see what I get this time. You know, when we come into this octave, and I'll share a tiny bit. The first thing I was shown was that a lot of the bondage I took on wasn't necessary, but it was necessary for the growth. But what's happening now is that my soul, I think I may have shared this before, but just a small part of what my soul's work has to do with the bringing together of all the different lineages and accessing the harmony into divine truth. So to bring together the different streams and to really listen and have compassion on myself for my own warring, but to know, to be able to see so clearly the light in all beings, in all streams, that they're all regenerated, and that we can be many streams on this earth. There's many rivers and bodies of water, and there's many beautiful lineages here, and we all have a universal code that we live by with how we use energy, but our gifts are a myriad of designs and perfect patterns that come through our heart. And so it doesn't mean that we're going to be, and so now I'm just taking it. So that has been part of my work, is to really, really hold space for that. And it's not been super easy because my human mind sometimes remembers the ancient lineages of like being this or being that, and feeling victimized and wanting to make that right, which we all have to do. But eventually we all heal and we're like, we realize we speak the language of the goddess. So, okay. So I hope you got yours. This is what we're doing in this realm. We can't really gain entry into this realm. Notice we had to do a bit of a prep until we surrender the ego. We can work with our pain and we can work with our shadow body, but the ego that is owned, that has to to step down and step back, because here we're working with divine will. And so here, anything that needs healing is going to be met with wisdom that can see a little more clearly. So you might just ask if there's anything you're ready to heal. That's a big one. To claim your I am, to claim your sovereign feminine, alpha feminine heart. What do you need to heal? What was the misunderstanding that has kind of like blocked your flow? Some of the some of the greatest challenges are illusions, meaning they're not as tough as we think they are. When we speak and work from this consciousness, we penetrate, we override. And that's why we don't feel so like in fight or flight all the time. We don't have to go to war unless we really have to. We only go to war when it's serving our divine mission, in which case we have our divine we have the sword that's been gifted us, like that knight in initiation when the goddess blesses his sword. We carry that sword, the one that doesn't the one that doesn't destroy our own field. And that works through the power of our word as well. And so now we are going to call forth the goddess in her cosmic form in the womb of Gaia and in our own heart womb. So I'm just going to ask you, this is showing immediately. You're meant to receive, it's like the sperm, it's like the spermatozoan, it's the yod of the Hebrew alphabet. It's the fire seeds that are swimming in from the center, the core of the divine mother in the cosmos. Just first come in contact with those rays. They're always here. They're always here, but you're just going to begin to receive them by your own acknowledgement. And now, okay, I'm asking, do they go to our heart or to the core of the earth first? You're just going to breathe in the field, knowing that actually the whole atmosphere is this yod energy and this divine fire energy. Okay. And so just as we begin to breathe, your heart is already in the field, and now your heart is synchronizing with it. It's the divine wisdom. We call it here divine feminine wisdom, being sent from our true source, our true mother, father, creators, and it's being received as we are children and offspring and emanations of the great one. In this realm, we're receiving it. Now we're going to drop right into Gaia's womb. Just going to take a moment and kind of drop into Gaia's womb, and then we'll come back into the earth, onto the surface. So we're just asking to now be baptized with Gaia in the core of her womb. So just allowing your energetic body to come down in. And this is just a core of, it's a nucleus of wisdom that carries all the power of the earth and Mother Earth. It's her divine seed codes that give birth to all the species of animals, of plants, of rocks. They even code the water to be fresh water or salt water or mountain water or lakes. All of these seeds, the Gaia's seeds, are in the core. And they are being activated on the higher, in the higher dimension as well. So we're just going to come into sacred union with those seeds. And she also holds the divine human seeds as well, because we're made out of her fabric and her material. She is the servant of this cosmic womb energy. When she's penetrated, her earth makes our body. That's Taurus. And she gives of her womb, her genetic coding. She gives to us that composition she puts her technology inside us so that we too are in perfect divine communication with the core of creation, the cosmic goddess core. So now in Gaia's womb, we realize what's happening. It's divine union. It's it's sacred union between the very, very highest and the very, very part of the physical world, the dense reality. Now we're just going to let's see what we should ask Gaia. I just feel so much energy with Gaia. She's just saying each one of you is a seed. You're putting your own seed in communication with the cosmic rays of the sun, the solar feminine, and the solar feminine within Gaia herself. It's like that sacral womb energy. And now she's recoding and recalibrating us. There's billions and trillions of seeds. They're all just, we're washing in them actually. And it's awakening our true intelligence to give birth to the Garden of Eden and the new earth. And so we're just going to ask that from the energy, it's like this is a Kundalini energy, but it's like it's the living light codes. It really is. It's Gaia's living light codes. And we are calibrating with them. And now she's just going to allow us to ascend onto the surface of the planet after visiting her. There's just so much color and so much, we could spend so much time here, but We're going to go up, and now we're just going to open to the earth. And so now let's just ask the vision of where we are. Where are we standing at this time? There's perfect, because it's equinox, we have perfect night and perfect day together in the same realm. And so it's like if you were to walk in this realm, it's pitch black midnight. And if you walk in this realm, it's noon. It's the fruitful goddess. It's interesting because those polarities that just came in are the winter solstice and the summer solstice. And it's interesting that she's coming in as winter solstice, the dark, dark night, summer solstice, the fruit and the fertility. And we are holding the equinox energy. And so on one side of this divine feminine kingdom, you have all things of this frequency when the sun is shining bright. And then on this frequency, we have the power of midnight and the cosmic sky with all the galaxies. The sky is so black and the stars are so lit. We can see all the constellations. And we're realizing this is our computer. This is our super consciousness and our super technology. And so now as we stand here, we're going to bring that polarity into our heart. We are standing in the ultimate polarity, the black night and the fertile birth. So we just ask the fertile fruit, the peak of fertility. So we're just going to ask now at this equinox, we see those scales that both of these profound energies exist within our heart. Our heart holds both shadow and light, both pitch black and fertile sun. The technology of the stars and the star streams, with the technology of the sun, our local sun and the cosmic sun. The inner plane and the outer plane, the dream state and the fully awake state, the inner sexuality and the outer sexuality. And so now you're just going to see those powers in your heart. And we're going to ask that the Divine Mother baptize us and initiate us with our own polarity integration. Because we're in this realm, like all of our real shadow entities, they're not here. It feels, everybody must have done a lot of alchemy because it feels really the truth. It feels like the truth of the purest power of both. And so now we ask this prayer. Within the core of our heart, where the divine seed has been planted, the womb that gives birth through both the night and the day, the womb that gives birth through both the shadow and the light, the womb that gives birth through our trials as well as our victories, the womb that gives birth through our masculine and feminine polarity of power on the axis, on the spectrum of the above and the below, the highest high and the lowest low. We ask to harmonize through our heart, through this polarity integration, to see your entire magician's wand along your spine, and you're going to see we're just going to work with the 7 portals along the spine. Through this polarity integration, we ask to activate all 7 chakra points on our spine. There is so much imagery coming in right now. So I ask that you just claim your own vision. The archetypes are dancing and singing, and the music is so beautiful. I feel like we're in the most amazing festival ever. So the 8th chakra is coming in now. I see the heart bursting open as the alpha feminine heart. So we have the 7 on our spine, but the true heart chakra, she's manifesting right now as the 8, as the infinity and as the figured 8 in the field. And it's activating the auric field so that through this field, the womb of the heart is created and we become the awakened birthers, the alpha feminine of sacred union, light body humans that are all in service, like that night kneeling, of the Divine Mother and of carrying forth our true codes at this time, we're meant to do this. I'm just seeing we're meant to do this today because we're getting ready for another more initiation. We've had quite a lot in the past few years. We're ready for the next round. This is to activate you to not, it doesn't mean we're perfect. Sovereignty doesn't mean we're perfect either. It just means that we know, we have gnosis, that this light is here. This dimension is our true dimension, and it opens through the portal of the heart. And so it's prayer is very powerful. When we pray, when we feel like we want to give up in this world, we pray. We just bow inward and we go to the voice of the silence, and then we allow the kingdom to be birthed. And so we are still human, we are humble, but we are also very, very, very powerful. On this Aries equinox, the archetype of the warrior and the warrioress, this Aries New Moon, which happens tomorrow, and the beginning stages of the North Node moving into Aries, we claim this as human beings that have gone through a long, long cycle of being cut off from our true power, our spiritual sovereignty. We just take a moment. This makes us more humble and more kind and more truthful than we could ever be. It doesn't mean we won't have to take part in those in that dimension that goes all over the place sometimes, but we always come back here, and that's the most important thing. We forget, and then we come back here. I have learned, the one thing I want to share is that over the years of doing this work, when a lot of things have come in where I literally thought, I don't know, like, this seems really bad. What do I do? Whether it was interpersonal, whether it was like interference, whether it was genuine things that have to do with the awakening of the divine feminine that are happening, I came to learn after a lot of times of falling into fear that there's never any need to have fear, ever, ever. That initial fear, maybe, but because this power will take care of it. The true power and the true warrior just gives it over to this power and is a servant of this power and a brilliant creator. And so that being said, I'm seeing the polarity of Aries harmonizing with Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus. And Venus is in Taurus right now, and it's just so powerful. The warrior is serving humanity. The warrioress is serving humanity. And she's saying, don't be afraid to be powerful. Don't be afraid to be strong. Don't be afraid to see the truth and say, I can accept some of that, but not all of it. Meaning like, okay, I get it. Some of that works, some of it doesn't work. It's not aligning with this. So, all right, we're just gonna take one more look around, and we're gonna begin to see each other's faces in this realm. Just walking around and greeting each other, bowing to each other in our own heightened language of our own lineage, saying, I bow to you. Shalom, namaste, peace be with you. Om Shanti. All of the languages that all mean the same in this realm. And we are unbelievably filled with the power of the light of this equinox today. So be it, so it is done. Amen. And through the power of the Mother, the goddess of above, the goddess of within, and the goddess of below, we see ourselves activated as the triple soul prism, the Trinity codes of the divine feminine heart. And so I thank you, all of you, for being here. Just ask, how are we to? So this is the thing, carry these garments, see your garments. Just take a moment and put on some garments, some robes of light that carry this frequency, because I want you to take those with you and wear them. Know what it is. We often work with this. What robe or what garment are you wearing in this state? Let that be an archetype to remind you. Put it on, or see yourself and see how beautiful it is. That robe is holding your wisdom. Whenever you forget, just put it on. It's like your superhero cape or your crown on your throne with your robe and your scepter. It's all here for you. And that's where the power of the imagination is profound. I ask that each one of you are blessed with the archetypes that you've received and the garments of light that you've received, that you carry them with you, into this new astrological new year, and that you become the warriors and warrioresses of light, spiritual awakening on this planet through the power of love and the power of the heart. I bow to you. And thank you so much. Um, and this field will come with you. I'm going to take a peek down and say hello before we close out, but we'll close out. This is a long one, but I'm glad I felt like we were meant to do this time together today. It's big. We're on the precipice of a completely new time with technology, with Aries North Node and solving war and peace and all of it. It's really important that we claim this right now. So happy New Year, happy New Year, happy New Year. Oh my gosh, is there anyone that hasn't said hi that wants to say hello and pop in and tell me where you are? Oh, happy New Year. Yeah. Yeah, I see some people throwing out some of the things that are coming. Exactly. This is the override. This is the override. Remember, technology is meant to be here. We've got to carry that. This energy will bring the understanding of how technology can serve the divine human beings and the soul. It has to serve the soul. If it suppresses or hijacks or takes or tries to usurp or infiltrate the feminine, no. That will be this, but you have to have power. You can't do anything until you have power. Otherwise, you're just playing in the 3D war. These are the keys of wisdom. And so we don't have to be afraid of it. You can see it. Sometimes I see it and I just let myself go, oh my God, I can't believe this. It's crazy. And have those moments and then come to here. Thank you for saying that. Somebody had just mentioned what some of the things that are coming. Happy equinox, Shay. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Lena Lundstedt from Sweden. So nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for saying hello. Rochelle Lacey, Donatella, Rani. Oh, that's beautiful. I feel like Reina or Rana means queen, if I remember, in some languages. That and Ra is also the sun, so it's the solar feminine light as well. It's just so good to see everyone. If I ever miss anyone, I usually come back and take a peek. Does anybody have anything else to say? If not, we will close out. Queen to Nectar Deep. Thank you, Lisa. So good to see you. Thank you, Medaba, Donatella. I love all of your light. The light in me bows to the light in you forever into infinity. Amen, amen. With the figured 8 and the infinity sign creating that flower with the core nucleus. And that on that note, we will leave. And I'll talk to you soon. I may be back Friday. I'll see how this video gets picked up. And if we're ready to do a video we do the goddess report on Fridays, 12 p.m. Eastern time. I'll see if this video gets viewed and if we need to do one Friday, and if not, I'll be back the following Friday. So I say thank you for everyone who is here live, and you can please give the video a like. I forgot to say that, but please give the video a thumbs up if you would like to, and that really helps, especially right now. And please come back and leave comments if there's anything you would like to just put out there for everyone to read. All right, I will see you soon.